A promise written in the wind, the town of Hallstatt was quiet beneath a veil of autumn mist. The lake, reflecting amber leaves drifting gently across its surface. 2 tourists! It was a postcard dream. 2. Elara. It was home familiar streets. Familiar cafés silences. But on the morning she met Rian, the world shifted ever so slightly, as if the air had carried a secret waiting just for her. He was standing by the old wooden pier, sketchbook in hand, completely lost in the scene before him. His pencil moved quickly, capturing not just the outlines of mountains and boats, but something deeper, like the way the mist curled, or how the ripples folded into one another. Elara, carrying a basket of books for her father's shop, paused when she saw him. Outsiders went uncommon, but there was something about the way he studied the world that caught her. Rian looked up suddenly, and their eyes met. His gaze wasn't curious or guarded. It was warm, as though he already knew her somehow. "Do you live here?" he asked. His voice had a softness that lingered. Elara nodded. "Born and raised." He smiled, closing his sketchbook. "Then you must know where I can find the best coffee in town." And just like that, an ordinary autumn morning turned into something extraordinary. She led him to a small café to be behind ivy-covered walls, a place most tourists never discovered. They sat by the window, the scent of roasted beans wrapping around them. Conversation flowed as if they weren't strangers at all. Rian told her he was an architect, traveling for inspiration, searching for places that could whisper stories into his designs. Elara confessed she had never left Hallstatt, though she often dreamed of distant cities she only read about in novels. 1 cup of coffee turned into 2. 2 days turned into a week. Every morning, Rian would be waiting at the pier with his sketchbook, and Elara found herself drawn to him, as though the lake itself was pulling her closer. They explored hidden trails, shared stories by candlelight, and laughed until the whole world seemed to echo their joy. He sketched her once, without telling her, and when she saw the drawing, her breath caught. It wasn't perfect, but it carried pieces of her soul she didn't know could be seen. But love, no matter how powerful, does not arrive without shadows. One evening, as leaves swirled in golden spirals across the cobblestones, Rian told her the truth. His stay was never meant to last. His firm in Vienna expected him back in less than 2 weeks. The project was huge, one that could shape his entire career. Elara listened, her chest tightening, yet she forced a smile. She had always known he was not hers to keep. He belonged to the wide world. 2 cities that needed building. 2 dreams bigger than this lakeside town. 2 weeks is still time, she whispered, slipping her hand into his. Let's not waste it. And so they didn't. They carved memories into every hour. They climbed the mountains at dawn, painting the sky with laughter. They left messages in secret places, words carved in tree bark, initials written on fogged-up windows, notes tucked between pages of books in her father's shop. Each moment was fleeting, but it burned brighter for its brevity. The last night came too soon. The air was heavy with unshed tears as they stood at the pier where they had first met. The lake shimmered beneath the moon, calm and endless, as if mocking their fragile time. "Promise me something," Elara said, her voice trembling. "Anything? If you ever feel lost, if the world ever feels too loud, think of this place. Think of us. Promise me you won't forget." Rian cupped her face, his thumb brushing away a tear. "Elara, how could I? You're not a memory. You're in me now. Everywhere." They kissed. They kissed both aching and infinite. A kiss that held the desperation of goodbye and the eternity of love that refused to end. And when the morning came, Rian boarded the train, sketchbook in hand, leaving Hallstatt and Elara behind. The days after felt hollow. Elara moved through her routines as though half asleep, her heart aching for the sound of his laughter, the weight of his hand in hers. She told herself not to hope, not to wait, but her feet always carried her back to the pier. The lake became her companion, its silence echoing her own. Months passed. Winter painted the town in white. Then spring softened the air again. Elara remained, tending her father's shop, smiling politely at strangers, living with the quiet ache of a love unfinished. She wondered sometimes if Rian had forgotten her, if the world had swallowed him whole. And yet, when the wind swept through the street, carrying whispers from the mountains, she swore she could still feel him. It was a year later, on another misty autumn morning, when the sound of footsteps stopped her in her tracks. She turned, and there he was, older in ways only she could notice, but his eyes still carrying that same warmth. In his hands, he held a sketchbook, worn and frayed from too much use. "I promised you," Rian said simply, voice breaking. "I tried to leave you behind, Elara, but every building I designed, every city I walked through, you were there, in the lines, in the spaces, in the silence. I realized I wasn't searching for inspiration. I was searching for you." Her breath caught, her basket of books slipping to the ground. She didn't care. The world blurred around them as she ran to him, and when his arms wrapped around her, the ache she had carried for so long dissolved into something whole again. The lake, the mountains, the Mistral of Hallstatt seemed to exhale, as if it had been holding its breath for their reunion. Rian pressed his forehead against hers, whispering, "This time, I'm staying, if you'll have me." Elara laughed through her tears, clutching him tightly. "You were always mine, Rian, even when you were gone." And as the wind curled around them carrying the colors of autumn once more, the promise they had written in the air a year ago became real-etched, not in memory, not in absence, but in the life they would now build together day by day, moment by moment.